that takes us quite nicely onto segment just before we have our special studio guest in the hot seat. I'll call it the hot seat. Ben Cox will be joining me very shortly. But first, we wanted to see how he did in the Walter Hayes Trophy. And Wes Spearman has put this really nice piece together about the young man's journey over last weekend at Silverstone.
The Walter Hayes Trophy, the most prestigious event in Formula Ford racing, took over Silverstone last weekend, with Banbury's Ben Cox taking part in his final races of the season. The event first launched in 2001 and has seen names such as touring car racer Gordon Shedden, Oxford-born driver Alice Powell, and three-time W Series champion Jamie Chadwick take part. The weekend began with qualifying with 4 heats to follow. Ben sealed 10th place in Saturday morning's qualifying and took place in Heat 4 in the afternoon. The heat saw an 8-lap race around the Silverstone National Circuit, 1.64 miles starting on what is the old start-finish line, through Copse Corner and into Maggots before the right-hander of Beckett's, leading onto the Wellington Straight and finally through the Luffield hairpin. An accident on the opening lap saw 3 cars taken out of the race, with Ben expertly avoiding the scene as he climbed to 7th place. At the front, Rory Smith and Jason Smith built up a gap to the rest of the pack as Ben looked to battle Will Liston, but contact between Fisher and Bezuidenhout saw both drivers go off track at the end of the Wellington Straight. This brought Ben up to 4th position, but with Australian Will Liston hot on his tail. Liston looked to make a move on the inside of Copse, but Ben held his nerve around the outside and maintained track position, whilst Liston lost out to Bezuidenhout. The battle between the two Smiths raged on as Bezuidenhout took P4 from Ben with 1 lap to go, as the boy from Banbury had just over a mile and a half to keep off the Australian Liston. But Ben crept back to the South African Bezuidenhout, but fell just 0.08 of a second shy of 4th place, with Liston just 14 tenths behind Ben for P6. A strong result for Ben, finishing in P5 saw him into the 12-lap semi-final on Sunday, lining up in 9th place on the grid, but an issue with Hugh Esterson saw him promoted to 8th. Ben held position off the line and again managed to stay clear of another lap 1 incident, although he dropped down to 12th later in the lap. A fairly calm race ensued for Ben after he regained P11 from Tom Liston on the 3rd lap, and the two drivers remained separated by no more than 1/3 of a second for the remainder of the race. So 11th saw Ben qualify for the grand final on Sunday afternoon and a packed grid of 36 cars, with Ben starting in 21st. Ben got a good start off the line and looked to make a move around the outside of Copse to snatch 20th with a lock-up by 19th place Cam Jackson, allowing Ben round the outside of Beckett's to steal the position onto the Wellington Straight. By the end of the 2nd lap, Ben made his way into 16th with a 3-way scrap across the line. But that was the last of the good news for the boy from Banbury, as an engine issue caused Ben to lose power and drop back to 24th. And so the curtain closed on another season of Formula Ford, with the 2025 championship set to get underway next April. Back to the studio for more Ox Sports Unleashed.
Again, I think we can all agree what a fantastic piece that was. Thank you, Wes, our motor sport expert. He really did an excellent job on that. And the eagle-eyed among this year, I haven't used that catchphrase this series, will notice that Colin has vacated the seat and I've been joined by young Ben Cox. So, Ben, welcome again. Great to have you back on Ox Sports Unleashed. How have you been?
Oh, I've been all right, thank you. Trying to get everything in order, and thanks for having me back. Is that your special catchphrase line just for introducing me? I don't know. That must be the favourite line.
It could be. It's one of my favourites. Just take us a little bit about through since we last saw you, your season during 2024. How did it go, and were you happy with what you achieved during the season?
I want to say, considering I've had 0 additional days of testing, I'm quite pleased with how the season has ended up, with 4th in the championship, fighting for the win in the last race at Snetterton, before unfortunately ending it in the wall. But despite that being a very frustrating end, it was still a really positive show of performance to show that I can race at the front, and I know it's in me, particularly in the rain. I'm always much further up there in the rain. So it's still hugely positive from that side. Across the season as well, it's been great in development and trying to find ways to push myself in new ways, as well as pre-race and can't filter my words. But yeah, great mentions as well across the season. And it's been a great year of finding ways to drive the car better than it has been, because I've been having to adapt from the Ray chassis to the Van Diemen chassis as well, which has been another crucial part in development across the season.
Yeah, so you're happy generally of what's happened through the season then, really?
Yeah, it's been positive. We finished 13 out of 14 races as well, which I don't know if any other driver did that. I think that's the most finishes across the season as well. Excellent. Which would have been, consistency is key, of course. You can be fast, but if you can't finish half the races sort of thing, then you're never going to get points. It's that kind of scenario.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Now, you've brought in a few things. I'm gonna bring this up.
Don't hit the helmet, please.
I won't hit the helmet. Well, you never know.
I'll move it across a little bit.
This is lower wishbone, is this?
Yes.
Can you just explain what this is to the audience?
It's a piece of suspension from the car. It attaches to the lower part of the hub, which is where the wheel bolts onto. So you've got your wheel, and then you have a hub, which it ends off with like two sort of extended bits where this bolts onto. And obviously, one side is to the hub, one side is to the car, and obviously it keeps the car off the ground. So without that, you're doomed.
Understand, right? See, these are exclusive things. You don't get this, on Top Gear, do you? So,
Clarkson.
Thank you for that. I've got to pick this up again because I know how light this is.
Yep.
And I just.
It's a bit dirty as well from Silverstone.
Coxie on the back there, look at that, just brilliant. Brilliant. I absolutely love that. Now, there's a couple of other things here, just explain these things here. You might need to move that out of the way again.
Oh, you can see it. This comes with a little protective, bag or whatever you call it. But these little blue pieces, I don't know if you can see them very well or not, but these are little ear pieces and they slot into your ears. It's what Formula One drivers get these as well, and they were specially made by my sponsor SJB Hearing at New Street. They sit in like that, if you can see it. They're flush with my ear, so when the helmet comes down, it goes in, and it's got a filter inside the ears to where it reduces excessive noise levels from car engines and stuff like that. So you're losing your hearing as much.
So that's SJB
Hearing. Yes.
Yep. Cool. A nice little shout out for the sponsor there, which is good.
Yeah, they're very handy, these things are as well. So.
No, that's good. Obviously, the Walter Hayes Trophy, is that the first time you've raced in that particular trophy?
I raced last year in it as well with my old team, Suli. This is the first time I've obviously come here with James for that event, but I raced at Silverstone in April, of course, this year. But I was much faster this time round, purely from the development I've learned throughout the season. I've learned and applied to get myself around the track faster. I don't remember how fast exactly I was, but I know I came faster. And that was the case with most tracks this season, which is what the advantage of being in a good, a team who's got that extra bit of data and, more development, more knowledge, things like that. Any extra bonuses perhaps that you might be able to apply to the car and the driver together, and again, half a second in a day or something like that, it does develop well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Which is your favourite track to race
on? I would say racing is probably Silverstone, because it's so wide, and it's very wide and very overtaking opportunities, and it's really fast flowing as well. Probably the favourite track to nail a perfect lap on, I would say, is probably Brands Hatch, because it's really hard to get right, but when you do get right, it's really satisfying.
Oh, good stuff. So just take us through, what does now the season's over, what does your winter now look like then? What's happening?
Just training hard, just trying to get any kind of sponsorship in if we can, if possible, which I'm hoping we can do, because our seasons are really dependent on budget. So if we could do that, that'd be a great start. Obviously, so I'll be doing a bunch of networking over the winter, training hard, obviously, at the gym, doing fitness 3 times a week, and then a run on the weekends. I do that as well. Obviously, we've got a bit of Christmas. I'll be seeing you guys again, doing your challenge K-Dog as well.
Absolutely. Stay tuned for that.
I've even thought of another one for you at some time. It's not racing related, but yeah. That's pretty much my plan.
If it's hurting my co-presenter, that's fine. It's not a problem.
You're asking me to spar him and just give him a few harder knocks.
Well, just
I'm not going to do that. I'm not that mean.
Don't tell him.
I'm not that mean.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh, is he? Oh, damn.
I'm sure you got an idea of what you do.
I think we got away with it, Ben, to be fair.
I think we'll be all right, don't we?
We'll be fine.
We can always do some other alternate routes, but yeah.
That's good. No, we will take you up on that because that would be good. I will mention something at the end, actually, that I'm quite interested in. You'll be interested in as well, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
So the winter's like that, plenty of fitness still to do. What's the sort of highlights for the season 2025? What are you looking to do?
Well, we're just to simply be at the track. That at the minute, the last few years has been, if we can make it to compete in the race at the track, that is the best we can get. If we can get any kind of additional funding to get the additional test days or something before, especially if it's a new track, that can help hugely. Like Castle-Combe and Lydden Hill this year, the first time we've ever been to those tracks, and it took me the whole weekend to get up to speed and get onto nearly the race leader's pace sort of thing. Lydden Hill, I think I was 5th in one race and 4th in the other, something like that. Castle-Combe, I was 5th in one and I got on the podium in the second one. But again, it took a whole day to get to a point where I was like that. Versus we got a new track this season as well for 2025, which is Anglesey. I've never been there, so if I could have 1 or 2 additional test days before that, that could make a huge difference.
That sounds really good. Being on the podium, what's that like? I got to ask.
Well, I didn't get to see K-Dog's coming. Don't worry, I'm not that mean. I may sound it, but I'm not that bad. I just don't have a filter apparently, so that's what I get told. So, but yeah, I didn't find out I was on the podium at Combe until after I got home because there was a post-race penalty for a car ahead, which promoted me. So I didn't know.
Okay, yeah.
But across the line, it was neck and neck anyways, between me and third on the track anyways. So that was exciting. But when you get on the podium, it's a great feeling. Because particularly as I haven't had it often in the last few years on the competitive grids, and I was fighting for third in the championship. But when you do get on the podium, you kind of think, yes, I've achieved this. This is an achievement. I've got a trophy or whatever to bring it back, and I'll remember this for a while now, sort of thing. And I remember the details of how the race went and all that.
Yeah, that's lovely. I think it's a great little story as well. What I was going to say to you, on a week on Sunday, I'm having an Aston Martin experience at Dalton Barracks. So, there could be some, hopefully no crashes.
You hope not in Aston.
No, because I have to pay for the insurance. So you have to be a bit careful on that. I'm a bit nervous. Can you give me any tips for driving around a race circuit? what anything I should know or do?
Well,
avoid other cars.
Well, that's one. Obviously,
probably one.
First of all, you've got to apply the common sense to it, like you do on the road. Obviously, give cars space and stuff like that. You want to hit the apexes. If you have a hairpin, for example, which is a 90 degrees runner wrap, the simple way of explaining it, you have obviously the entry, which you want to be as far over to the right as you can if we're going into a left-hand hairpin. You want to hit the apex, which will be around either the middle or the very end of the curb, depending on how short the hairpin is, and then just go straight off. You will know if you've taken the corner well, but if you have a really fast run through the corner, look, I'm not very good at explaining things, but you want to obviously take the racing line the fastest way through the corners, and the fastest way through the corner typically is the least amount of steering input.
We might have some film of that. I'm not sure yet, but it could be, car crash.
I'm not very good at wording. I should give you some coaching when you're there, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's true. But
I can do that with Challenge K-Dog anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll do it to you on the F1 game.
So you heard it here first. Your driving is terrible. Yeah, that's probably about right. But we'll see. We'll see. We might have some footage of how I did at Dalton Barracks in a couple of weeks' time. Great to have Ben on the show again tonight. He's a fascinating young man, and I'm sure you agree, comes across brilliantly on interview. So our thanks to Ben for joining us again tonight. Good luck for the winter, and good luck Fastest time on a lap this season. Oh, there's a question for you. There you go.
Live question. I don't get those.
Yeah, we've got a live question.
Well,
It shows we're live.
Well, that's a result, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's good that it's working. But thank you, Daniel. Fastest lap of the season. In terms of the shortest track in time, I think would be Lydden Hill, around 46 seconds. I want to say something like that. But on a slightly longer track like Snetterton, it was 2 minute 1, something like that. I'll have to look at the official lap charts for that because I can't remember, but it's around those sorts of times. It depends on the length of the circuit, but Silverstone probably is Brands Hatch will be the most improved one across the season. Last year, I couldn't get into the 51s. I was lapping in 52s, but this season, the second time at Brands, I got down to a 50.5. So that's the most improved I've across the from this season to last season, track-wise.
So there's, going back into an interview here, but so there is a really good progression coming in your driving, isn't there?
Yeah,
that's the encouraging part.
Exactly, it's shown. Even though the results haven't quite shown it across the season, the lap times definitely have shown compared to last season. It's definitely developed, and I'm looking forward to trying to put something together towards the 25 racing season. Hopefully get some funds going and get some additional testing, and that will really boost me into a proper championship contention.
Well, like I say, everybody at Oxsports Unleashed wishes you all the very best. I can assure you, it's always great to have you on. You engage with us a lot, so we thank you for that, Ben. And as you heard, if you're looking to get into Formula 4 driving and you want to sponsor young Ben here, please get in contact with us. We will pass on the information. So, please do if you're looking to do anything like that. It'll be much appreciated.
Be a cheeky plug. I've got different packages and stuff like that. I'm working on ways of trying to get different packages to trying to get people different offers and stuff like that. That would be just being a pain using this as a sellout for now.
Absolutely. I don't blame you, to be fair. This is where it's at. This is where it's at. So, our thanks again to Ben. And like I say, please do get in contact if you would like to.
Lewis Hamilton, love
yes, there you go.